My name is Sherelle Kirkland Andrews, otherwise known as Funkidivagirl, and I am a for real housewife of Atlanta. I have been a stay-at-home mom for 13 years now. I've been married for almost 15 years. In 2 weeks it will be 15 years. I have a 13-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. My husband works in interactive media marketing here in Atlanta. Wow, what was my formal life like before I had kids? I worked at UCLA. I was an ethnographer, which means that I recorded other people's stories. I worked for the School of Public Health. I enjoyed it immensely. I always knew that I wanted to stay home when I had kids, but at the time when I had my son, when I was working at UCLA, I actually would have continued working there because it was a situation where I could bring him. It was a research project. It would probably go on for a couple more years. It was a perfect situation. Unfortunately, my husband got an incredible job offer in New York, and we moved when my son was 6 weeks old. What does being a housewife mean to me? Well, to me it means just being available for my family. My husband and I always say that one person has to be flexible. One parent has to be flexible. And right now that parent is me. I have other things that I do. I do the blog, I write some, I have a sales agent job. But I am the flexible one. If the kids get sick, I am the one that stays home. If the kids are off school, I am the one that's home with them. I am the one, for the most part, taking them to their lessons, picking them up from their lessons, making sure the homework's done, talking to the teachers, knowing who their friends are. I am that person. Being a parent is really, really hard. And being married is really, really hard. So even with one person like myself who's flexible, it's tough. I personally could not have as demanding job as my husband. And he has a demanding job, and we just hold it together with our family. It would be really difficult for us. And for me personally, because I need a lot of mental space. I need the decompression time. When I'm gone, those days that I'm gone from 8 a.m. dropping my kids off and I don't get back home, say they have a lesson after school and we don't get home till 6 o'clock, I'm a mess. And my house is a wreck. I don't like that. I like order. I don't like clutter. There's dishes in the sink. I don't like that. I'm not paying attention to them when they're talking because I'm thinking about the next thing I have to do. It's rough. And I could not do that 5 days a week. I would be a lunatic. Now, we are blessed that my husband is able to financially support our family. We don't have everything we could have, but we have everything we need. And that's all that's important. I usually get, if you go to parties, people ask, what do you do? And if I say, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I actually do other things. Besides having the blog, I'm a sales representative for a labels company in Canada. So I actually do some work at home. But I never say that to anyone. I just say I'm a stay-at-home mom, and you get the blank stare. They check out because they don't think you're interesting. They don't think you have anything to add to the conversation. And I think that that's really sad that people put labels like that. I don't think that about other people. What you do for a living would be the last thing I would ask you, not the first thing. I will probably ask you more about your family and how long you've been living where you live and how do you like it and what do you like to do for fun. What you do for a living would totally be the last thing I would ask. But that's always the first thing that I'm asked. Most people are asked. And most people don't like what I have to say. I have a master's degree, so Sometimes I get from family members, you're not using your education and you're not using your brain. But I feel like I use my brain a lot. I feel like raising children and managing a household is a very smart thing to do and a very intellectual pursuit. I don't feel like my brain is turning to mush. I do this blog, which I absolutely love. It does nourish me. It helps me hone my writing skills. And I do hope one day to do something more where I can be a writer. But whatever I do, as long as my children are at home, I will work around their schedules and be there for them as much as possible, because I think it's important. I have incredible children, and I am blessed to be a part of their lives and to share pretty much everything that they go through firsthand. I like the calmness that my family has. We're not always running around and frantic. We eat dinner together every single night. And I think that's really important. Sometimes it may be takeout that we're eating, or Chick-fil-A if we've had a long day picking people up from lessons, but we eat dinner together every single night. And I'm not frazzled for the most part. I have my days, long days with the kids sometimes where I am frazzled, but for the most part, my house is always clean, my kids are always groomed and well fed, and everybody's pretty much happy around here. And I like to think I have a lot to do with that. So that's the best thing about staying at home. The worst thing about staying at home is financially, obviously. Again, I said I have a master's degree. If I would have kept on the track that I was on, I'm pretty sure that I would be making as much money as my husband, and we would have doubled our income. So that's actually, that's a big sacrifice financially. But I would say my kids are pretty blessed. They don't need anything, and they don't want for most things. I mean, they pretty much have everything they could ever desire. Horseback riding lessons because one of my dreams is to have a ranch on the beach, even though my husband does not like animals, does not like farms, but I think he'll be okay. And I love the beach, I love the water. We live in Atlanta, there is no water, there is no beach, but we used to live in California, and I would love to move back there, maybe Santa Barbara, and be a writer. I always thought that I could write, and lately with the blog I have been writing quite a bit, and I really enjoy it, and I do think I have a voice, and I do think that I can be successful in that one day. But I'm happy with myself, I'm confident with